Well, a little bit about myself. I've been a long-term Republican. A lot of it has to do with my age. But I've been a Republican for about 30 years, and everybody comes to the Republican Party in a different way, and I came to it in a very interesting way. My parents are from Mexico. My mother and father came here many, many years ago. My dad was recruited as part of the Bracero program, the workers, guest worker program, and came to California to work on the railroad. So my father stayed and worked and then eventually became a legal resident. But interestingly enough, he got a job as a mechanic and was a member of a labor union. He was very disillusioned with that labor union and became very much about right to work and people not having to necessarily align themselves with a union. So that's why he became Republican. My mother, on the other hand, also very traditional and from Mexico, became a Republican because she was pro-life, and she's Catholic and very, very involved in the Catholic Church, and that's the reason why she became Republican. For me, it was a little bit different. I've always had conservative views. I didn't go to an Ivy League school, but I went to college and paid for it with beauty pageant scholarship. So in that respect, I'm a little bit like Sarah Palin without the shooting of the moose. But I got very involved in local politics in Modesto, California, where I'm from, in Stanislaus County, worked with the Central Committee there, and became Republican because of Ronald Reagan. What he said about personal responsibility and lower taxes and jobs and just his whole message of patriotism really resonated with me. And being that I am a first-generation American, I'm very proud of the opportunities that this country has given me. And I became Republican and actively involved. I got my first job when I finished college in Sacramento, working for the Republican Party on the Reagan campaign. And I was out in East Los Angeles campaigning for Ronald Reagan. And the amazing thing is that about 49% of Latino Democrats were supporting Ronald Reagan, which is really amazing because we traditionally don't think of this demographic as a target audience for us. And that's really unfortunate because I think here in the district we have a perfect example of a very large demographic of the African American community, which is 51% of the population. The Latino population, which is 9% and growing, and we have a lot of kids, so we reproduce rapidly. So that is a community that we do need to be reaching, just like we need to be reaching the African American community. There are actually more Latinos in Washington, D.C. than there are registered Republicans. We only make up 6.5%. So unless we're reaching out to these communities, we are never going to get our candidates elected. We've come very close. Patrick Mara recently lost by like 1,200 votes. I think there's a real opportunity here, and I think I'm the perfect person to be able to do that. I've been actively involved in the Latino community with business organizations. I've been on the board for the Network for Teaching Entrepreneurship. So I'm actually working in Columbia Heights and Adams Morgan in the high schools with young people, teaching them how to write a business plan and how to start a small business. We provide little micro loans for these young people to start their businesses. And what I have found, even in talking to parents, when I call, sometimes I'm calling voters and I'll talk to their parents and I'll say so-and-so home, and they go, oh, no, I'm not the Republican, my son is, or my daughter, and they're still in school or whatever. So why not target these young people who are going to rebel against their parents in the right way? When I was younger and I had sort of conservative views, I rebelled and became Republican, and my parents followed suit. So I think there's an opportunity. They're not our traditional voters, but we can't be fearful of reaching out to them because I think there's a real opportunity here. I was at CPAC last week, and I received a really great endorsement by the Republican Latino Coalition. It's a national organization. And why my race is so important, in the Republican leadership, there's only 168 members who lead the Republican National Committee. And of those 168, there's only one Latina from Colorado. And there's a second one from Puerto Rico, but of course, she's Latina. So of course she's going to be Latina from Puerto Rico. But I think, we can't just think of this race as a local race, although it is. It's important. I've done my work in the party. I've been involved for 10 years. Jill has been very involved for the past 2 years and 2.5 years or something like that. As finance chair, she's done a great job. But I've had a lot of involvement for the past 10 years and have been in D.C. for 17 years and a long-term Republican. So I think there's some real opportunity here to make D.C. a focal point, having someone in the party in a leadership position that is a person of color. I'm trying really hard to draft someone who's really great to run for chair who is African American, because that would be the trifecta if we had an African-American chair. But I think it's really important that we do reach out to these communities of color, and it can't be somebody who's just sort of shown up and wants to have a presence. It's somebody who's already sort of built the foundation with this community, as I have, who's already someone who gets quite a bit of media attention today. I was in the Georgetown Dish. I've been several times in the Washington Post. I'm working with young people through the Miss America program, donating to the scholarship fund and raising money. And it's an organization that I'm a volunteer. It's not something I get paid to do. So I think I have great roots in the community, and so I've established a good foundation, and I hope that I will get your support.